I love that waiata. That waiata is mean. From the Bro Tawas in Aotearoa. Kia ora koutou. Welcome to Creative Talk Podcast. Another week, another interview, and another session that we're going to be doing today, talking with one of the brothers from back home in Aotearoa who's been massively busy creating a massive movement back home within the Māori healing modality.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Yeah, me too. Me too. It's been a long time coming to get my brother to be able to be here. I'm hugely excited to have Dion Freeman join us here from Honohono Healing International. He also runs Healing Aotearoa as well as Way of the Warrior. He's been an absolutely foundational man for myself, for my wife, for us to learn and grow and heal and spend time and share the space of his world of Honohono. And tonight, I'm really excited to bring Dion in, interview him, and share his insights, his knowledge, his kaupapa with you all this evening. Kia ora, my brother. How are you?
Tēnā kaurua, tēnā koutou katoa, ko Dion tuku ingoa. Nice to be here, finally. Thanks, guys. The first time you asked me, I chickened out big time. So yeah, got a couple of these under my belt now. So, but first live stream. So, real excited to be here and have some good yarns.
I'll tell you what, my brother. It's been a minute for us to get the time. You've been busy in your world, creating and building everything that you've been doing, which we're hugely impressed and also in massive support of. But I'm just grateful that we've got the space this time to actually be with you this evening. Thank you so much for joining myself and Amber and dedicating some time to actually help us explain this world that you've created for everyone to go on a journey on. And I think I'm just hugely grateful, my bro, for you taking the time out, speaking with us, and sharing everything that you're going to be talking about tonight. So yeah, I'm really excited.
Me
Amber,
too. Yes. I mean, as you were saying that, Kebrasca, a lot of things come to mind. You've known Dion for a very long time.
I have.
How many years?
I have. Longer? Man, since he was 16, 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is, man, that's what, 30 years, brother? Almost?
Yeah, almost.
Almost 30, eh? Yeah.
That's crazy.
There you go. Almost 30 years.
That's a very long time.
Thanks for making me feel old, mate. That's awesome.
I mean,
how about you, Emma?
Well,
How long have you known me?
well, I almost didn't know you, but now we're friends. And
Yes.
and we live happily ever after, the three of us.
It has been an interesting relationship over the years with all of us because we've all known each other at different times in our lives and also in different parts of our healing journey as well, right? Like I remember when the brothers first went on his journey, and at that stage I was not even doing anything in healing. I was not even connected to nothing, but my brother was on his path and spent some time down in a cave and a whole bunch of other stuff. Like went on a massive hikoi. But like, let's kick into some of these questions because some of these things I really want to, get your insight and get your feedback on with regards to how this vehicle, this waka that you've created has come about and kind of really share with people everything that's kind of going on within your world. So, what originally inspired you from where you grew up to the family that you were immersed in? What inspired you to walk this path of healing initially? What was that motivator for you?
My nan. So her name is Sally Rangiua Dairy. And she was what I thought was just a voice in my head from my earliest memories of being able to hear. And my first words were taringas and whakarongo. And that was from her telling me to use my ears. And I think I grew up with my Samoan family, so I think for them, they didn't know what it was, just thought it was gibberish, probably thought it was a bit backwards, that I wasn't like, Mum, Dad. But my nan it'd almost be like a lullaby. And so that was my, I guess, introduction to her. And then I hurt myself as a young kid, probably before I was 5. And the voice in my head told me to put my hands over it. From there, created an energy ball. My toe was no longer open and bleeding out. My cousins stopped screaming, and my family member that came to like investigate was like, "What's the problem? It's just a little scrape." So that was my first introduction to hono as an actual healing. And then from there, I just used to pretty much play with energy and be guided by my nan. And was when I was about 7 or 8, I actually met her in person. She had dementia. She was in a wheelchair. She was at a family gathering. And she said hi, and I realized it was this lady in a wheelchair saying hi to me in my head. So I replied, and she just smiled. And then when I went to go walk over, she was like, "Shh, don't let them know I'm here." And it just buzzed me out. And she's sort of been with me ever since. But I think an interesting thing for me as a kid, I was always able to see and converse with spirit and people's loved ones who had died, but it would always get me in shit. Like always end up not good for little Dion. So yeah, that was my introduction. And then obviously life and upbringing, conditions and conditioning happened. And then I ended up working in a hotel with you, Kebrasca.
And that was many years ago where Dion was one of my first trainees into being my 2IC. And, we used to kill that team, man. We were like running that hotel like it was basically our hotel. And he was one of the best staff that I had at that time, and ended up running everything. The restaurant, the bar, the events, the whole lot. So it was like that was before anything, before any healing, before we were, going down any of this path. And yeah, man, it was a good time back then. Yeah, brother. Was there you talk about this journey. Was there a defining moment for you when it was like in your mind you just decided like this is what I'm gonna do? Like what was that, and when was that?
Do you want the truth?
Yeah. We can handle the truth. Yeah.
Okay, so let's fast forward a few more years after prison, after getting out of prison, and like that was another real big, massive moment for me. So just a kind of short story. After I was working at the hotel, I got involved in drugs and all sorts of stuff, ended up in prison. And that's sort of where I started trying to heal myself.
Yeah.
Because I saw what was around me, and I didn't want to live in that space and just enact my trauma out on other people. Yeah. After that, get out. I had game plan to get a nightclub, nighttime tour company. So Kebrasca and I, we did all that together. Yeah. When we had the nightclubs, I don't know how much. This is when Amber and I weren't so friendly. To be really, really like generously nice.
So what? You rejected me from my own boyfriend's
You didn't
club?
even get in the club.
What was that?
I was a dick. So yeah, I guess Amber's really, really good to add context here of who I was into who I'm becoming.
Yeah.
But yeah, long story short, I was pretty much ego based at the time, and very much concentrating on money, drugs, women, all of the dumb shit that 20-year-olds do. But then the defining moment actually was when Tashi, one of our close friends, passed away. That grief just sparked something that could have gone either way. And so I don't know if you remember, Kebrasca, but our nightclub was pretty haunted.
Yep.
And towards the end of it, I was hearing all of their voices, and I couldn't escape it. What I didn't realize was that with clubs come gangs and all sorts of other yucky stuff. The defining moment was sitting on a wall with a shotgun and 5 Molotov cocktails, And my nan came through and went, "Hey, boy, give it up now, or there's no coming back." And like having this argument in my head with my nana, like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do if I don't do this? I've worked all my life for this. And she was like, "You're gonna be a healer." And then my dead best friend who took his life when I was a kid came in, and he's normally my go-to guy for mischief. And he's like, "Bro, don't do it." But there's no coming back. And I guess I trust them in spirit enough to know if they're saying, and especially if my bro is saying, "Don't do it." So from there, that was the defining moment, bro, was getting off the wall. Leaving the shotgun shells and leaving the Molotov cocktails on the wall just to send the message, and then hide it up. I'm out. And lots of other stuff in between and on the other side. But basically, Nan asked me to give away all my worldly possessions and walk with God, and heal the people of Aotearoa, whether they're born here or drawn here, and they will heal the world. That was me. It took about 4 months to give away everything, and then hitchhike the country with a massage table for 5 years. And I think when I seen you would have been at the end of that 5 years when I got donated a van.
Yes, you'd just been given a van. Yeah, and you pulled up outside the Novatel at the airport. I remember.
You were there working with Lord or something like that.
Yeah, we were doing a music campaign with, we were working with her at that stage. We just finished having a meeting with her and her manager, actually. And then Dion pulls up in this van out the back, and he's got these Tibetan singing bowls. And then we were out there doing the singing bowls together, and then he looks at me and goes, "You need to be the healer, brother." And I'm like, no. And I had the same reaction that he probably had when he got given the message.
Because we still weren't friends then. And you came back inside Kebrasca and you were like, "Oh man, Dion's lost it. Dion's gone crazy. He just got me to do this bowl thing, and then he said I was going to be a healer," and I was like, "Oh man, he's been smoking too much." And then that was that.
But just for context, I was not open at all. I was like a skeptic. I used to think spirits and spiritualism was just woo-woo and crazy talk, and like if you were involved in that space, there's something very, very wrong with you. That was my fucking thing. And now I'm like,
and now you're a healer.
Now I'm the crazy guy. And I like
just
being the
for
crazy
context,
guy.
Especially for you, Amber, that was probably one of the most soberest times of my life. I was like dialed in, man. I was locked in.
So after that massive journey, brother, and getting those, beautiful messages from spirit, from Tashi and the bro, and also your nan, what was that? What was the next couple of years of your life like, traveling up and down Aotearoa? And what was the, for you, the experiences you had with people going from an ego side into a connected healer, all loving, giving away every worldly possession, and just like traveling the motu, not even knowing what or where you're going? What was it like, bro?
It was a massive mind fuck, but in a beautiful way, and it was just like trusting in the divine. And I think the thing was, I had controlled my life to these places of I wasn't happy with the clubs, bro. Like once we got them, I was actually I was really miserable and probably quite depressed, to be honest, like now that I look back. And like, so Tash told me, my nan told me, and then another nana figure that I grew up with that was my spiritual safe place. She gave me, both her and Tash gave me 45-minute lectures on, and it was pretty much the same korero on, you need to give away all of your worldly possessions and go do this. So by the time Ruth died, I didn't need another person to die in order to listen. The 4 months of giving everything away was hard, but also liberating. And when I look back, because I've had heaps of people say like, "Fuck that, I've got these spiritual gifts, but I don't want to give away my..." I think you and I had this conversation.
Yeah, we did.
And I was like, not everyone has to do it like that. I had to do it like that, because if I had nightclubs to go back to, trust me when I say, man, having nothing, like absolutely no money, is a trust thing. Like,
Yeah.
and I gave I gave Eeyore, or the universe, whatever you want to call it, God, I gave that energy an ultimatum 3 times in my 7 years of working for donation. Um, 2 of them happened within that 5 years of hitchhiking, where I was like, give me $100 bill right now, or I quit. I'm done. I'm going to go and be a dishwasher, or go and be help somebody build houses, or a lackey or something. And literally the next client that pulled up, picked me up in the car, did a treatment on them, and they're like, I don't know why, but I'm being told to give you $100 note. Not my 250s, not my 520s, but this $100 note. And those moments were the trust. But I was asking for signs, and I guess I had to give my life up to a higher power to find happiness, because I wasn't creating it for myself, even though I was fulfilling all these goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. It's kind of like where it's, you've got to strip away all the stuff in order to find out who you really are, right? And that, I feel like that's what you did on that journey.
Yeah.
And you went as far as living in a cave for how long?
2 months.
And whereabouts?
The bottom of Stewart Island, so the very bottom of New Zealand, 2012 during winter. Don't think I'd ever do it again.
You did go back recently, though, back to that cave, though, eh?
Yeah. Start of the year, I went back. I thought I needed another epiphany, or like, come on, Nan, hit me with another, like, what's next? And also, I wanted to take some footage of the place and show people how I lived, because I think a lot of people, like, my life has gone from one extreme to another to another. Like, I tell people I had nightclubs, they're like, bullshit. Tell people I lived in a cave, bullshit. And then I'm like, oh, go ask my brother. Go ask his wife.
Yes.
But I guess also the context of what you just said, Amber, I was such a loving kid, and I had the massive amounts of love for every single human, but I also felt the massive amounts of empathy and all their trauma as well. And I think going through a really traumatic upbringing myself, trauma knows trauma, right?
Yeah.
And so I would go look for it in bullies and go and enact that trauma on them, to show them what they just created for someone else. And it's this cycle of shit.
Yeah.
But I think my trauma bodies came out to play when you came on the scene with Kebrasca, because like, just in all honesty, I was like, man, this must be the one. She's going to take my brother away. I'm going to be a dick.
Oh.
And I really tried real hard. But when we met back up in Dunedin, I think that was the proof in the pudding for you, was like, you could maybe feel it, because there was no ill will. In fact, love you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm glad to say that they've made up and they actually do like each other now.
Yeah.
Not that you didn't hate each other. It was just, it was great. But I'm glad it's all done.
Yeah. But again, that thing of healing, of reaching out and owning your shit.
Yeah.
It's not an easy task, and it's and I think it's why a lot of people do avoid the healing journey, is because you got to front up to some of your behaviors. And I think the other thing is realize where they come from, and then you can address them. And like, life has been so cool to be able to hang out with you guys and it not be that energy.
Yeah.
Correct.
And that was exhausting. Just to think of ways to fuck you off.
Oh my God.
And again, those are those trauma bodies coming out.
Exactly.
So it's been a long journey, and that self-reflection has been massive, and still comes up today, man. You know, I think that's why they call it a journey. Is
totally.
I don't know where the end is. You know?
Have you? Would you say, brother, that term healing, over the course of your journey so far, has evolved and changed as you've healed pieces of yourself along that journey, and that it means different things at different stages?
1000%, bro. Yeah, and the thing that I'd put it to is like the lotus flower. You know, I was definitely that little ball of shit in the bottom of a pond, you know, for a time there. And I think the thing I try to pass on to people is a lot of people I find get stuck in a certain part of healing their trauma, and then it's just trigger after trigger after trigger, and it's cyclic, and then you know, they might spaz out at people around them, and offload, and it can be quite easy to get stuck in that mud part.
Agree.
But I think, and the one thing I drum into all of my people around me, whether they're students, whether they're friends, like it must be really exhausting to be in my life for some people, or have me in theirs, more like it, because it's consistency of chipping away the layers of like those conditions you grew up in, and the conditioning that got put on you, whether it's school, society, home, friends, you know, like, but I do believe that I'm uncovering the beauty in myself every day, and especially by like, there was something this morning, I woke up and I was like, oh yeah, I had a distance session in France, 8 a.m. this morning. I woke up and I was anxious. And then I was like anxious about 100 things, and I was like, hang on, this must not be me. Okay, that energy can move out. I'm not ready to start work yet. And then I had to self-process, hang on, is there anything that I am actually anxious about, because I've got so much going on at the moment? And I'm like, oh yeah, minuscule things. Okay, I'm going to put them all into context. Right now, the most important thing is that I do my routine so I can turn up for work, so I can help this dude with his anxiety stuff, and then I'm coming from a space of healedness where, you know, rewind 10 years ago, I would have been like, oh fuck, can I even work? You know, like, so yeah, like it does get better and easier, but consistent effort, you know.
Totally.
Yes. Totally. And speaking of healing, what does it mean to you? What does healing mean to you? I know it means a whole lot of different things to different people, but yeah, essentially what does it mean to you?
Finding that core essence of self underneath all the layers of shit that the world's put on you. And the healing part is like peeling all those onion layers off. Probably onion's not the best one. Doesn't taste too good even at the core. But you know, peeling off the layers of shit is the healing to me. And the healed part is you know, I believe that when all of us were born, that innocence, that joy, that beauty that radiates out of, you know, a baby, that's us at our true being. And the life happens, so the healing is going back to like that core beauty, like before you learn to dislike people, or before you were hurt. So that's sort of where I'm at. Is I can honestly say where I'm at right now is I'm really in love with who I am, and I feel like that 4-year-old Dion, 3-year-old, 5-year-old Dion before school is, I'm actually allowed to be that now. And I'm allowed to smile, I'm allowed to be friendly to everyone. And that's that healing part. But again, we go back to who I was when I first met you, Amber. You know, that's a dude who was deep in the depths of needing healing. And the funniest part, Amber, is back then I was still on a healing journey.
Yeah.
I guess you were one thing that triggered insecurity that I wasn't willing to address at the time.
Very true. Very true. And that's part of the healing process, isn't it? Is recognizing that there's something that's coming up, recognizing that there's work to be done, and then also doing the action towards actually trying to make that shit work.
100%, bro.
And that makes it the hardest.
It's a hard process.
It's the hardest journey I've ever done in my life. It's harder than running a business. It's harder than being in a relationship.
Yeah.
But I would not have it any other way because of the benefits from it, from going through all of that crap, from lifting layers. And I'm nowhere near where you are, brother. But I am, just super grateful for what's happened in our lives since we started our journeys.
Yeah.
And also the time we've spent with Dion on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
And what's come out of those, those sessions.
Yeah.
For both of us in completely different ways.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And it's like, it's a process, right? But what do you find, Dion, with, there's a lot of people who start and then that they can get there with their healing and then they just don't continue. Like what are the biggest blocks, or what stops people from continuing with that?
It was kind of what I was getting at with you before, Amber, when you were a block for me. Because I did a lot of self-reflection in jail. I got out, I had these goals. And then I guess when I met you the first time, I was trying to fake it till I make it.
Yeah.
Right? And then when I met you later on, you were a block in my head to me achieving that success with my bro. And that was it blindsided me. And then all that self-work I'd put into like building self-confidence and obtaining goals and turning up, just as a business owner, started to crumble. And like, I think my friends and my staff saw the cracks. But by that stage, those inner demons had sort of taken over. But all it took was me about to, really hurt people or go back to jail to have that smack and that wake-up call again. But the stop-start of somebody's healing journey is, I look at it like that. Like, sometimes you hit a wall, oh, shit, I blew a tire. I need to work out how to fix the tire, how to get another tire. And then, maybe I'll get on the road again, or maybe I'll just drive back. And I think love, because it comes in so many forms, and like I was saying this morning, real love is not controlling. It doesn't have conditions on it, like true authentic love, like you want the best for everyone. But part of that, I think, where the car stops on that healing journey is when we look at someone we love and we want to put something on them to meet our expectations, or ourselves even, like we stop loving ourselves for a moment because something triggers us, or and the other thing is everybody's healing journey is different, because we're 6 billion energies out here with 100% different experiences, and all like it's like a whole bunch of rogue ants. But once a few of them start working together, then you get that cooperation happening. Like I actually believe that I believe from COVID onwards we reached a tipping point. And lockdown, which to me is funny, because jail lockdown is where I did my biggest healing, self-reflection. So when COVID came along and I knew the lockdowns were happening, I dreamt about it 18 years before it. I was like, oh man, this again. I get to go inwards and party a little bit because everyone else is gonna hit the wall. And I do believe that it made people go, like, I feel like it backfired on people that might have put it out there for a different reason.
Totally.
And people went internal, and so you know, I stopped and started on my journey. I'm not perfect. I still have hiccups. I still get people like present things, or even mirrors I'm finding at the moment. When I see somebody that has an action towards me I don't like, I have to look at the mirror of it. And if it's not a part of me, it's something that definitely was, but also need to, view that reflection in a way that I don't want to do that to somebody else.
Yeah.
So your journey, you pick up and leave off and sit and rest wherever you need. And like I will say that for some people, it's exhausting, man. Especially if you're trying to do your healing around people who you love, but trigger the shit out of you or aren't on that journey together. I think that's something real special about you two is that Amber, like, you've gone fully in, and I think for the bros healing, he definitely wouldn't have been so determined.
No way.
If you weren't with him.
Yeah, 100%.
You get what I mean?
Yeah,
100%, brother. Like I've said that you've always been the one that kind of started my journey and my want to go and explore, and then through that exploration has opened up a whole like world, or worlds actually, worlds of different modalities and energies and all these different things. But through it all, you know, my darling has been there to help pick me up when I've had those hiccups in the road, when I've slammed my head against the wall. And I think it's one thing to do the journey by yourself alone, which is what you would have been doing at certain stages within your journey. And that is just for me the most profound and probably the most difficult version of lifting yourself up. But I think it would also be the most rewarding at the same time. And for me, if I kind of need that extra support at different times in my journey, and having her there has been fundamental to me learning and loving and understanding not only her, but actually myself as well. And really knowing who that fella is, because I've never seen him before and I've never met him before. I don't even know what he does. And I'm still learning.
How's that been for you, Amber?
Oh, I think he's finally starting to see what I saw all along.
Yeah.
You know, and I always say to Kebrasca, it was your light. Because, you know, we were watching this thing last night and it was about this podcast, and the guy who's really, you know, wealthy and successful was saying you need to do your due diligence when you're choosing your partner, and like, are they going to be an overspender? Are they going to be this? Are they going to be that in terms of money? And I was like, well, I hooked up with a Māori
an overspender
who was living in his ex's garage, who didn't have a car, who had 2 kids to 2 different women. Yeah. And I was like, yes, that's the one. You know, so obviously there was something else there, because I'm not materialistic, as you know, but there's obviously something else there that connects us. And I saw above all of that. And I think finally Kebrasca's starting to see that himself, which is good, because it's like, that's your light. I've always seen the light with him.
Yeah. But, you know, I also think that light wouldn't even be shining if it wasn't for the people like yourself, brother, who have been in my healing journey, who have helped share modalities and teachings and learnings and kaupapa, and grounded me into places where I was either scared of going or like just not prepared to do it, and like push you off the cliff like everyone has done in order to really push yourself. And you, my darling, have been that driving force off the cliff, along with my brother at many times in my life. And I actually feel like the long hill that we were climbing up is kind of coming to like a point where it's not so tough to go up anymore. It's actually like we get excited by that shit now. It's like, let's go. Let's go up.
Want to know something cool?
Yeah.
That hill's going to give you the view of the next one.
Yeah, correct.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's like, oh, that feels good. Now we go again. Yeah. And we go again.
Yeah.
And I think there is peaks and troughs with the healing journey as well, that, like, you know, I think it's finally starting to come out with social media and stuff like that, of like, it's not all roses. Healing looks like, oh, fuck
exactly.
you. you know, but again, that's that consistency. And like one thing I tell all of my tauira, all of my students, and any of my friends that's like, oh, I want to jump on this journey, is nobody is above the need of healing.
Yeah, that's it.
Agreed.
And trust me when I say it, the moment I thought I was like, yeah, I'm the man, I'm healed. Boom. Good night. And it'll be something that I didn't even expect, you know. Oh, I thought I fucking dealt with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know, and I think that's the reason why I wanted to hit you up, Amber, for the context of who I used to be, is because I think that's the thing is there's also this image that people expect a healer,
to be
yogi, a guru, you know, like, I started getting those visions in 2007 at the clubs. And by 2008, I thought I was going crazy and I couldn't ask anybody or talk to anybody. And I was seeing what was happening for me as well. But by 2010, I'd already moved into this new state of being and alone. Like, you guys will remember, you would have thought, fuck, he's lost it. Everybody did. You know, my family wanted to put me in the nut house.
Yeah.
But I just had to trust in my nan. I had to trust in the source. And I had to trust that divine purpose, because it was one thing that my nan used to repeat to me when after I'd get a hiding and I'd go hide in my closet and like play with energy balls to make myself feel better, that she'd always say, you're destined for greatness, you're destined for greatness. And I thought, you know, growing up, I thought that's what I thought the nightclubs were going to be.
Yeah.
I thought that was what greatness was. And I'll always strive for it, but I'm realizing that, you know, that healing the world buzz, like, that's the legacy I'd want to be a part of, you know?
100%. Yeah.
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 Yeah, because when you pass, right, you can't take the nightclubs with you, but when you pass, you can take the knowledge and the feeling of, I helped hundreds of people to heal, you know, like how that's such a big difference in thinking and feeling, right?
Yeah, because if you heal one person, it's going to affect a family, it's going to affect the next generation, and so on and so on. So, you know, as far as legacy is concerned, that approach is you know, profound in the way that it's going to have an effect on not just today, but the future as well.
Yeah.
Well, brother, on your journey, you know, going from prison, going from the darkest corners of where you were back then into now, you've obviously formulated and created this incredible modality, hono, which Amber and I have both experienced and both have been down that journey many, many times and absolutely
and
love
still
it.
do.
And still do. How did that come about? That approach, that modality, that kaupapa, how did that foundation come to you, and how was it fundamental in your journey as well?
Okay, so I didn't create it. I can say that I am a descendant of it. So a man in the 1800s called Riwai Pakiro, he found this healing modality through carving.
Wow.
And so he was shot in the face and blinded, and he went into the carving, and he carved 11 marae from the east coast, from I think Tolaga Bay up to Ruatoria, and through the carving he found hono. And then, so these are stories that my Papa Elder has shared with me when I first treated him, and he was like, your uncle has the carving and you have the healing.
Wow.
And you're both the essence of Riwai. And so for me, this is where the medicine comes from. And then if you want to take the whakapapa of that, at the time, it was either the Maori hierarchy of our gods or Christianity. And so his buzz was just going straight to the source. And I think if you've ever carved wood or got so into a creative project, something takes over.
True.
You know?
Very true.
And that is you, God working through you, if that makes sense. Without it being the Bible or an actual religious God, that's the energy of the Creator working through you. And so Riwai, he, after carving, he went and toured around the middle of the North Island sharing this modality, and he would work on anybody, whether they were settlers, whether they were Māori, anybody in need of healing. So I've been quite blessed that he, I guess, through spirit, handed that to my nan.
Wow.
My nan worked on that with her kids before she got sick and got put in the dementia ward. And I think me being the eldest grandson and also removed, she chose to visit me, being the first grandson, and obviously she knew it. I didn't know I was Māori until later on in life. But yeah, so Riwai is actually the founder of the medicine, and his whole thing was it comes straight directly from source. How it became a kaupapa or workshops or an actual thing was Nan. Like, she is pedantic with how she wants things written, expressed, explained, and so for the first 2 years of practicing hono on people, I just call it spiritual healing, because that's what it is. But also there's a science to it, which is energetic healing. So for Nan, every single treatment, she would be in my head or in my ear. What are you feeling? Write it down, and I'll be like, hey. And so her whole thing was write it down. And then I finally started writing it down, and then I realized, like, oh, there's a pattern. And she's like, duh. And then from there she was like, okay, now write the pattern out. So I wrote the pattern out. Okay, now write and locate that on a body map. Okay, now this is the process of safe practice. So like workshop 1 and 2 at the moment, and as it stands, is 88 pages of like just it's like someone's whacked you with a book of protocols, tikanga, the way things should be done, where things are stored in the body, how to release it safely, and she's very direct. Like, with our karakias, there are Māori people who know hundreds and thousands of karakias, a different prayer for different things. Nan was like, we're going straight up the mountain. There's many roads up the mountain, but we're going straight up the mountain. And pretty soon, once you've gone up to the top of the mountain, you can go back down, and then you can become the mountain. I'm like, okay, real... yeah, but one of her big sayings is the proof is in the pudding, and that's where it's at. And so as soon as students were up to level 2, she's like, okay, now write out levels 3 and 4. Actually, leave 3 and write out 4. And I didn't know why at the time, but there was some copycat stuff happening.
Oh, right.
Claiming they practice hono, and her whole thing was, once you have enough students, then you can go back and write it out. And I think, knowing Nan, probably a test in the sense of who's actually hungry for this, and who's here to just take. So yeah, that's led to 4. They were 4 individual workshops, and now I'm teaching them in retreat form, because the whole thing is, if there's too long in between, you might not remember, because there's so much information. So smack it out, and also her thing was, proof's got to be in the pudding for each person. So you have to work on 50 people for donation, for tā koha, equivalent exchange, and then she wants me to read through 15 different testimonies, to make sure you're pono or make sure that you're on.
Mm.
And then there's the test.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, you know, she's real thorough with the whole way this has been set out. So
Mm.
if I'm being really honest, bro, I'm just a vehicle.
Mhm.
You know, I can't say I created anything because it was there before me.
Yeah.
And all they wanted to make sure of is that it'll be there after me, and the mana of it upheld. Because, you know, like there's a reason for everything she's made me go through, which then I get to hand down to the students without as much heaviness
Yeah.
or responsibility. But yeah.
What's it like for you to, you know, because running a business is one thing, but being connected and guided in running a business is a whole different type of way of doing it, right? How does that work for you on a day-to-day basis of being guided, following guidance, working in these workshops, working within your mentality, growing all these, like, how does that, how has that been over the years of you building and growing this,
Way of working.
you know, this way of working? How does that work?
Have you ever not listened to one of your elders?
Yep.
Bro, I never wanted another business after the nightclubs. You know, that was my dream. My dream as a 15-year-old kid just come crashing down in all sorts of ways. And like death of the ego, we hear about that.
Yep.
Man, mine got killed 1,000 times over. And then, to be honest, living in the cave was where she told me to start a business. And I'm like, I don't want a business. She's like, open the doors and they will come. I don't know if you remember back to the nightclubs, but that was the same with 324 and the Vault.
It was.
Open the doors and they will come. So it was a trust thing. But I guess like I didn't want the business because I didn't want the things that come with business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like I still argue back to Nan, like, and to be honest, they just like Riwai has come in now. Like Riwai for so long has been standing in a corner with his arms folded, just watching.
Wow.
And through one medium that I've had regular readings with now, but we've had to go through the same thing of like, hey, bro, don't boss me around. I'm getting there. Like, so yeah, there's back and forth. It's like having a teacher that you can't see.
Yeah.
Like the difference was, I think Nan was very, and Riwai is very much like Mr. Miyagi. He likes to watch you make the mistakes and then sort of chuckle at you after, and then say, "Are you ready to do it my way, stupid?" You know. Whereas, yeah, Nan was very much like pushy. And how is it to run a business on behalf of them?
Or with them, you know, like in support, with their support. You know?
It's beautiful in the sense of the impact that I watch it have on people's lives, and learning to trust. Because I don't know if you remember me with the clubs, but I found it like I was a micromanager. But I'm good at that and I'm good at that. You got to do it as good as me or it's not going to work. Like here. And so they both pushed me into taking on one of my students as an admin. They both told me back off the reins. They've been kicking my ass for the last 2 years to be global, you know, just go overseas. But I really have a love for our people here in Aotearoa. And again, whether they're born here or whether they're drawn here. Because half of my family are immigrant, you know, like, and then the other half who are Māori also have immigrant blood in there as well. And like I traced it back, I've got about 14 different strands of DNA from all over the world. So, but when I say our people or my people, I mean people born here or drawn here to Aotearoa, not New Zealand. That's a company,
Yeah.
you know, and run by CEOs. But Aotearoa, like Nan always told me, that Aotearoa is it's a state of being. You know, it's not a country; it's a state of being.
Yeah.
Those who are searching for hope. So, for me, running this business has been a beautiful thing of giving that sense of Aotearoa back to the people. Instead of it being, I live in New Zealand, you know, I'm a white farmer, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, and when I say that, I say that because those have been some of the most beautiful transitions I've watched. You know, I worked out of many farming towns now while I was hitchhiking, and to see racism still alive 10 years ago, it'll probably be alive 10 years from now. But to see the change and to see people adopt Maori now, not realizing that they were adopted by Maori. You get what I mean? To see people on the verge of suicide now, like living their best life, living their dreams, like that's the impact of this medicine. And I get to watch people's dreams, like their reality shift from trauma, stuck, to blossoming like that lotus. So the business side of things, I'm still wrapping my head around it, bro. Like I don't. For me, Nan set up KPIs, but they're not financial. They're with, so one student heals 50 people or works on 50 people for koha or for donation, and you times that by a room full of 10 students, times 10 wānanga in a year or 10 retreats in a year. You know, we're talking some real good numbers here of impact. And that's the type of business that I can be a part of. You know, I still don't earn a wage. I'm still like technically homeless, like I'm not allowed to have a place to settle yet. But what I'm realizing is home is here. And, you know, they're kicking me out of the country in a couple of months' time to make it international. Like, I've already done little drops in different countries, private retreats, healings, but Nan wants the same structure that I set up here over there, everywhere.
Nice. Wow.
And the cool thing is Riwai, this has been his dream from the 1800s.
Wow.
You know? And in our marae, there's different drawings and paintings that he'd done of different nationalities that he never knew about. You know, and the whole thing was all of these beings, if you're born under the sun, are welcome in our whare. You're welcome in our home. You know, and that's one of the first marae to see the sun in the world. And the only blue marae, blue sky, blue wai. So, and the marae is Taha Rora, which is named after another ancestor, but it's home, man, and that's the vibe that Riwai had, was that, you know, we're all in this together, he waka eke noa, you know? Every culture, every nationality.
In that context of Riwai's, you know, vision of it being a global movement or a global modality and everyone could do you believe that everyone can be a healer? Do you believe everyone has a gift in order to do that, and they kind of just need to peel those onion layers back, or is there ways that they can do that?
My knowing is that every one of us is a healer. The capacity in which we choose, or the way in which we choose to share that healing. Like I want to go back to as a kid. Every single one of us as a seed on this planet, we came here with a purpose, we came here with a mission, and then life, you know? So, you, bro, and I'm just going to drop it in there. I'm sure Amber will agree. As a singer, you bring healing to my soul.
Oh, thank you, brother.
And, you know, before that was more of a, fuck you. Wish I could do that. You know, you just threw that away, you bastard. But do you get what I mean?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
And when you're ready to bring that back as a healing modality, brother, you're going to be rocking it.
Yeah.
But there's some healing that needs to be done around that.
Yeah, correct.
In order for that to come out.
Correct.
Same with me. Like, Amber, part of your healing is your tarot.
Yeah.
And I recall Kebrasca saying to me after you did level 1 that it was one of the first times you could feel energy.
Yeah.
As soon as you can feel that, you are activated. Like for those people whose hands run hot, you are ready to work in healing. And especially for like mother's touch, like all of these little sayings, they have truth to them. A lot of them haven't been finished off. But then if we're stuck in our trauma, the want to actually help heal somebody else is less and less and less.
Yeah.
Because, you know, a lot of the time we're stuck in our own shit.
Yeah, that's right.
But yes, I do believe, and no, actually I know it. I know every single person with a heartbeat is a healer.
Yeah.
Their choice and how they choose to share their healing gift, different. And then you've got strengths of it.
Yes.
So, for instance, Amber's intuition, off the charts. Your healing abilities and hands, burning, off the charts. But now you're both finding that you've both got those different gifts.
Yeah, that's right.
And like the thing I do love about Honohono as well is it's Nan's whole thing is it's integrative. So whatever gifts we've got artists who like drawing is their healing for themselves, but after they have done Honohono workshops, they're not going to open up a clinic. But man, they're healing and through their art and visual, like it mesmerizes you.
Wow.
So whatever with Honohono, whatever your natural gifts are, like I joke with my students at the moment, especially the OGs, like the students who have been with me for quite a number of years now. You know, you guys are like a fluffy X-Men, you know. Each of you has got your own like gift inside of the medicine, but you know, like you're not here to harm anybody. So yeah, I feel that, and that is everybody's journey. You know, is to find out what their strength or gifts are in healing and use it for healing.
Yeah. And with Honohono, is it hands-on? Is it massage? Is it what kind of things does it incorporate? Say a typical session, Honohono session, what would that look like?
For those people who have no clue, never heard of it before, who watch this channel would never be familiar with it. Take us through that process, brother.
So Honohono means to join or connect or reconnect. The first thing it's doing is connecting you with our Creator and connecting you with our Earth. And that makes you the pillar in between. The other thing it's connecting is your mind, your body, and your spirit. Because there's all that junk, that life stuff that got in the way of those connections, you know. And for any of your listeners or viewers that are head people, they're like, oh, I'm overthinking all the time. I can't sleep at night, or business. That's a connection lacking from your body, but most probably your spirit as well. For within Honohono, your spirit is actually the most important aspect, and the one that we sort of push, society pushes out to the side until recently with COVID. And then your body. If you keep attracting, like stubbing the same toe, your body is trying to tell your mind something, that your spirit's not happy. So we're working with spirit, and another way to look at spirit is its energy. So the easiest way to explain it is we are energetic beings. Within the Maori culture, we call our spirit wairua. So your wairua is your internal waters. Science proves this. But your electromagnetic field is your second waters, which the universe, not the universe, science hasn't necessarily been like, yes, this is the thing, and we can measure it this way. However, if you get everyone to put their hands together, and so if you guys do that, and then you bring your hands apart, and then for some people who are brain people, logic people, they have to close their eyes. But if you move your hands in and out, you'll almost feel energy in between your hands.
Yeah, totally.
And so for most people, they'll feel heat. For some people, they can feel like opposing magnets. So we're just going to cup that into like a ball shape. Okay. And then I'm going to get everyone to just close down their eyes. And you're going to imagine the word love. And then you're going to bring it towards your heart space in the center of your chest. And you're going to inhale and put your palms on your chest. Hold your breath in for a little bit. And then release. So for a lot of people, they will feel the warmth in their chest. For other people, they're automatically like at ease. For you, Kebrasca, you look like you smoked a fat hooter.
It went all the way through my body, all the way from up here, right down.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah. I love those energy balls.
Yeah. So what's happening with hono is when you learn the different techniques to either focus that energy, to put love into a space, which will eat away at the trauma, or if you in the later levels, when you learn to extract a blockage of energy from somebody, this is the hands-off version of hono. We're working with energy. On a Māori level, we're working with your wairua. And that's the whole reason why Nan has such a tikanga and kawa in place of the protocols of safety, is because you could do yourself or somebody else a real disservice by trying to fuck around and find out. You know, and if you're trying to do that without the understanding of what trauma is stored where in the body, you might just welcome in a whole lot of pain that you don't want to experience or see. So that's the whole reason why she set up this kaupapa of we do this and then this and then this and then this and then this, for the safety of the practitioner, but also the person who's getting worked on. And then through the later levels, we start introducing touch and pressure. Miri and romi are their own things. So miri is like there's if you were to go to one of the miri teachers in Aotearoa in New Zealand, they would probably tell you that you are stimulating and agitating an area in order for the trauma to release. And then with the romi, you are really adding in a pressure to get, so for instance, say it's a knot. I've got a knot in my thigh. So you would use pressure, because just stimulating, rubbing and agitating that is not moving the blockage. Whereas if you were to drop an elbow into that area, it's probably going to release at some stage. It may cause pain in order to release that pain. Whereas for hono, we are able to almost pop that knot energetically from the inside out without touching it. And because we have a body map of what's stored where, we already know what that trauma is in that area. And so when we relay that to you, your mind goes, oh, fuck yeah, that did happen at that time. And, oh, I thought I'd let go of that. But automatically send signals down to your body, to that area, going, he's finally caught on. We can let this shit go. And then ultimately that makes your wairua, oh, fuck, freedom, mean. Next. You know, so that's the basis of the medicine, I guess, with the different things. And then there's using that same energy to bless a space, to work on animals, to work on a house, like, because everything is energy, you know.
Yes, I agree.
Energetically, and science can probably prove that as well, that everything that's in your kitchen cupboard, every single molecule and atom of that is the same makeup of everything inside of you right now. So I guess the easiest way is hono is that connector between your spirit, your body, and your mind. And as a practitioner, you learn how to work within those parameters to bring freedom to any blockage within your body or your mind or your spirit, which then ripples out into your friends, your whānau, your colleagues, your whatever it is that you're doing in life.
I think that's a really important part where, you know, it ripples out to your friends and family, as we know. And Dion, you've worked on my mum.
Yes.
Which was a very interesting first session with her. That was an amazing wasn't session. It? And, you know, I mean, I warned you that she would not be the easiest person in the world, but you stuck with it. And, you know, now she's, you know, she's doing her mahi and she's all for it. And so a lot of the stuff you've discovered working on me and her is, you know, due to intergenerational trauma. How does that, can you explain a bit about that? Like, how could trauma from her past or our ancestors be affecting us today?
Okay. You ready for this one?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to use some expletives just to, you know, so people really get it. The moment you are born is a clusterfuck of all of your parents' stuff. From dad, from mum, they're good, they're bad, put together and created you. Inside of them is dad's parents and then mum's parents. So that's 4 more
people
to form them, and then go back another generation, and now you got 8 on each side. And like, the furthest back I've gone on somebody's generational trauma, the furthest was probably 12 generations.
Wow.
And that was mainly because that person had been doing this mahi for fucking at least 20 years before me.
Wow.
So they had already, like, so I can go back a few generations and know a little bit about what I experience and why these patterns keep happening within my whānau on either side. But this woman was able to go back. She had her whole family tree. So she knew who her family had been really good at logging everything. And one of the first colonial settling families in Aotearoa. But if you met her, she still talks like she's from Ireland. But yet her family were one of the first to come to Aotearoa. So a big part of that was knowing her genealogy. Most people, you can trace it back almost around seven generations. But my job is actually to work on what's not working for you right there and then in the moment. And the thing that I do love about this medicine is, like Nan's always said, there's no blame inside of our modality. Oh, your mum fucked you up. Nah. Here was a cause, and this has been the effect, and this is what you're dealing with, and this is why you caused this, and it affects your life here. So if you rewind that back, we're able to go, oh, hang on, this happened in your life. We deal with that first. Here's where it's happened or why that's happened from that person that might have created that trauma. So let's just say there was something that really happened that messed with yours and your mum's relationship at this point in your teenage years. And that's pretty easy and common. But let's go back to why that happened with mum. We go back to what happened for mum in her life, and all of that will be carried in your body. And then we can go back to how it was for your mum as a child, and then we can go back to you'll feel either of the grandparents and so on and so forth. And it's just pulling that thread all the way back to where the original trauma and the one knot that you had in that bloody muscle that you put in, that your massage therapist is like, oh, it keeps coming back. You know?
Yeah.
Does that explain it?
Yes,
Yeah,
it does.
It does. And what's interesting with, with your mum's healing and what she's learned is it started with pain. It was all about pain. It wasn't about trauma. It wasn't about her past. It was her.
She still says that
she still has it. She still says it. Do you find, brother, that with that intergenerational energy and with that trauma energy, if it is in the body, is there a high possibility that also causes pain for that person in their world now, or does it just sit in that body and it's a little bit discomforting sometimes, or is it a mixture of things?
So because we're so interconnected, and when the love is strong between mother and daughter or siblings, you share pain.
Yes.
So if we also look at it like this,
I know all about that.
yeah. And then you share it back to Kebrasca.
So does,
but you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So the other thing with healing is, like, as young kids, our way to help heal our parents is to absorb it.
Yes. Like our animals that we have around too. They also do the same job.
Yeah. But then you also go back to that clusterfuck moment of, like, DNA. You are carrying all of that already in your makeup as you're growing, and then absorbing, and then, creating your own trauma experiences. So this is like, it's cyclic as well.
Yeah.
And what you'll find is not only does shit travel downhill, it also will cause a tumbleweed effect as well if it doesn't get addressed.
Wow.
And I think that's why I love the mahi so much, is because so one of Nan's things, and it became our slogan motto for healing Aotearoa, is by healing one we heal all.
Yeah.
And so that was her thing of what I was up to. And when I like cheekily asked her in the cave, like, oh yeah, if I have a business, what am I going to call it? And she's like, well, what have you been doing? Like, I don't know. She's like, you've been healing Aotearoa. And do you know what the funny thing is Amber, is your mum reminds me of my nan. When she first started telling me what to do. So, imagine your mum being on your shoulder going, hey, Amber, hurry up. Do it this way. No, write it down. You're not doing it. Like, so, yeah, it's fun.
Yes.
is what I can say. It's moments of fun. But, yeah, that's the best sort of example I can sort of give you for that.
Look, you run a lot of wānanga events and obviously still do sessions from time to time with different clients all over the world. What kind of transformations? I know you spoke a little bit about some of them, but what's some real standout transformations that you've witnessed yourself through the medicine being applied to some of maybe the worst environments or worst traumas and the outcomes that have come from that?
The cancers are always a big deal. Brain tumor recovery is like instant.
Wow.
I actually think we've spoken about this, Kebrasca, because you've had a couple of moments where you've just clocked out.
Yeah.
And then come 2-3 hours later at their feet and dripping in sweat.
Yeah. Totally.
Many of those I never try to say, because the thing is every one of us as practitioners are just a vessel for the healing.
Yeah, agreed.
We're a vessel for that God energy coming through us, and we give permission for that to happen. Well, especially inside of Honohono. So I've witnessed many miracles under my energy ball hands, but I can't fully take credit for it, because all I said was, yes, I'll do that.
Yeah.
And for some of them, it does take its toll. because you're moving that much energy. And I guess the biggest transformations have been the really like people on crutches can't walk, cancer, go to the doctors and it's gone.
Wow.
Brain tumor, can't fly, can't travel. They have to stay in hospital. Treatment, a day later they're flying back home. Doctors give an okay. Many times of doctors in between the treatment of doctors going, I don't know what the fuck you just did, but whatever you've done, like do more of that.
Yeah.
And so those moments are rewarding in the fact that you've helped someone from a real fucking bad situation.
Yeah.
But my favorite ones, bro, are the ones where you see the lights come back on in somebody, like they're about to take their own life. Like there was a time period there where I was getting, and that was when my phone number used to be online. Not now for a reason.
Yeah.
Because I was literally the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff where people would ring me at 5 a.m. in the morning, or stupid o'clock for me. Like I'm not the party guy anymore. My phone shouldn't be ringing. But it's like, hey, my partner, my brother, my sister is just about to take their life. Can you fix them? Can you work with them? The COVID sitch, a lot of that. But seeing that hope come back in people's eyes is, and that's almost every treatment. So like, but the success stories, I guess, where people have taken the medicine and they've run with it and they've turned their lives around. Because a big part of going to the cave was being that quick fix for people. And like giving them homework and saying, okay, come back at this time and let's do another session. And they've got, nah, bro, I'm feeling fucking sweet. 2-3 months later, they've hit the same wall again.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm fucked. That was a big reason of going to the cave, because I was overdoing relationship healings, like breakup healings. And actually a big part of that going to the cave was because that was that time period of people ringing up wanting to commit suicide or their partner, brother, spouse, those sort of things was about to.
Wow.
And they're heavy.
Yeah.
And when they don't want to actively work, that's the biggest thing, bro, that I learned the hard way was I need my clients to want their healing more than I do.
You want it for them.
That's
I understand. Yeah.
And that's where I started creating boundaries. Like after the cave, I created boundaries. Actually, this person doesn't really, they want the quick fix.
Yeah.
Like I give it up to a lady, Jacqueline Hawkinson, who was my Reiki teacher.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have the label and nobody, knew what it was that I was doing. And she told me, Dion, I don't know what it is that you do. It's not Reiki, but keep doing it. Yeah. But be aware, people are going to try and use you as a drug.
And keep coming back like, oh, I'm broken, fix me. Broken, fix me. Yeah.
And very much like in my work, it's like I said it to someone, I'm probably going to get in shit for saying it, but I call them ask holes. So they're
I like that
like,
too.
yeah. They're not like an asshole and they're not an asshole, but they will ask you all the questions and take none of the advice.
Yeah.
And keep hitting that brick wall.
Yes.
Oh, why did that happen?
Yeah.
So like I don't have time to deal with assholes much anymore.
That's a good one.
It makes sense though, right?
It
Because
does.
you don't want to be spending the amount of effort that you have to put in to help these people, and you're giving them work to take away to do, and it's up to them if they're going to do the work and actually continue with their healing, because it's not like Western medicine where you give them a pill
No,
and then it's
nothing
go
like
away and you'll be fixed, which we know is not gonna fix people.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense that it's good to put up those boundaries and to say, hey, I'm not your fix all with your ask holes.
And
pretty much.
And you've spoken about, placing those boundaries for your own protection and making sure that when you do share space and when you do hold and do a healing, that it's done in a particular way. Are there other things that you do to prepare yourself when you're having a session with a client or when you're going into wānanga to teach? Is there are there particular rituals that you do to keep yourself safe and protected and make sure, that it's all done in the way that brings the highest, intention for everyone there?
Yeah. So karakia is the biggest one in the sense of a hurutanga or creating that safe space. So that's first and foremost. And to be honest, it's actually just every part of my day. Yeah. I was stoked when we were having the technical difficulties and Amber was like, oh, we need to start with a karakia. I'm like, yes. Yeah. And then I was like, oh yeah, are you going to do that, Amber? And I was, no. But as soon as I did that karakia, I instantly felt better. I'm like, okay, let's roll. But my karakia is I'm in constant communication with source. So when it comes to a treatment or wānanga, I'm just doubling up.
Yeah.
And then rituals, like for me, like I was saying, that's that consistency. Yeah. So breath work every morning, energy, do a scan and check in with myself every morning before I get out of bed, being aware of whatever aches and pains I'm holding, internally addressing what that body part means with the hono body map, and then start my day, breath work, and then rites, 5 Tibetan rites, and then get into my day.
Wow.
And then with going to sleep, energetically detached from every person, from past situations, to go into that moi moi a state or that dream state with clarity and without carrying the dramas of the day. For me, life is the ritual.
Yeah.
And we are the medicine and we are the church, and we're God in motion when we can get out of our mind or ego state, because it's our ego isn't a bad thing. It's here to keep us safe. But I reckon our teenage years is probably what built, that's where the ego is like, I'm free, and then can continue to fuck with our lives and create trauma.
Yeah,
totally.
And Dion, you do a lot of you do a special type of cleansing after you do a healing session. What does that involve with your freezing cold water?
Oh, for myself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cold plunge. I literally, if Kebrasca hadn't have sent me the message going, sound check, half an hour early, I was literally about to go jump in the Awa, the property that I stay on, Manawa Retreat. So this is where I set up the international side of the business, and moved into retreats instead of just wānanga. The same but different. But yeah, this beautiful block of land is known as the Valley of the Waitaha Grandmothers, and the Awa here, there's or the river is freezing cold, and fed on the river is fed by Mount Hutt, so it's snow on there at the moment. And then the other arm, which is a stream, is 7 underwater puna or springs that feed fresh water.
Wow.
So that is the river side is the representation. So it's Waikere Kere Ki I, or the masculine representation of God, and the puna or the stream is Waikere Kere Ki O, or the feminine version of God source, or that energy. So that where that meets, where it meets and separates is my cold plunge spot.
Wow.
And man, I I rock out of there and I'm just, every single cell in my body is alive. So yeah, I love it. That's my usual cleanse, but also I cleanse. I do that cleanse in the morning as well, especially on a big day. I'll go and hit that, and if I can't get there, I'll cold shower. And the cold showers are just a real. If any of your listeners aren't near the ocean or a fresh water source, have your hot shower and then challenge yourself. I started with 10 seconds and then moved to 30 seconds and then 2 minutes. But like I was actually doing that in jail as a 19-year-old kid.
Wow.
Because I needed to be sharp just in case anyone wanted to fucking beat me up in the showers, you know? So that was a happy accident that has turned into a ritual. And how was your cold plunging, Amber?
Well,
Amber, how is it?
Well, I recently watched a female scientist who's actually based in Auckland say that cold plunging is not very beneficial for women because our bodies actually it creates more stress and cortisol in our bodies to be at that lower temperature like with that men go into,
because we have more testosterone is what she was saying.
Yes, and it actually hurts the female body. So I'm going into the hot saunas, thank you very much.
Well, like whatever's going to work for you, the hot and cold exposure is probably the best for you.
Yeah.
I've heard that theory before. My thing is I know a lot of women who practice Wim Hof. I 100% believe that the breathing is the massive part. Like, if I go into cold water, it's still fucking cold. It's freezing, and my first initial thing is. However, if I do breath work and jump in that cold, my first initial response is like, "Oh, that's the shit." And again, like with the cold or the hot, wherever that attacks my body tells me what I haven't dealt with.
Really?
So like I said, hono for me is just, it's in everything.
Yeah.
It's in yoga, it's in breath work. You know, if you've ever done breath work and your body might get the cold pins and needles, or you know, you get the T-Rex hands.
I get that
You get the T-Rex.
every time. And Kebrasca's like, what is that? I'm like, that's T-Rex hand.
Yeah. So the T-Rex hands, Amber, is a little bit partly to do with your actions and like a fair response to actually moving into your full actions. So
T-Rex.
It's a different body part. It means a different thing. So along the lines of like Amber, you came to this planet for a purpose, and then conditions and conditionings have led you into other things, but it doesn't mean that those are the actions that you're meant to do to the day you die. You get what I mean?
Yes.
So I'd be looking into, especially if one a little bit more than the other.
It's both.
It's both.
Oh, okay.
She's got the T-Rex.
Yeah. So basically, there's some actions that your heart's not into yet. Or it could be that your heart's not in a lot of your actions.
Day to day.
Yeah, you're typing. And that would be true. That would be very true.
It's just, you know, the day to day, and your heart, my heart isn't. I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I know exactly what it is.
Because trust me, I've had the T-Rex hands a few times, and on one hand more than the other, and it was because I didn't want to do this logical thing. It's and actually the last time it happened, it was my left hand, because I'm not doing any creative stuff at the moment besides creating more business stuff for me to have to do.
Yeah, which is more logical work, isn't it?
Yeah. Like there's creativity, but then it really like, I'm going to set up this retreat. that's the creative explosion. And then Dion's logical army comes in and they're like, okay, we're going to add in these processes here, and we've got to do this here, and we've got to build this thing here so that this doesn't happen. You know, like, and then my creative project has just gotten lemminged by a whole lot of little lemons, lemmings with their ladders and their, you know,
the doozers. Like the
it's
doozers
more like Fraggle Rock, actually.
The doozers.
The green doozers.
Yeah. And all I want to be is the red one with the pigtails going.
Me too. I totally
and the
understand.
uncle that goes traveling.
Yes.
That's from that.
Traveling Mac. He was the man. And send the postcards back.
Yeah. So speaking of traveling, you're going to be traveling soon overseas. And what are you going to be doing there? So
I'm heading over to Europe to go and establish some retreats. So retreats and workshops. And then I'm still contemplating Tahiti at the moment. Kebrasca actually trained with one of our Tahitian healers. So she's at the she's ready to pass her level 2. So I'd like to go and connect in with her on my way out. Because we've got a few level 2 students. So there's over 700 level 1 students now, which is awesome.
Wow, congratulations.
There's about maybe 100 level 2 students, but they're at varying degrees of passing their level 2. And then we have a group of level 4 students, which is about maybe 20 to 30. Now level 2 students are able to practice, and we have many level 2 students that have been had their own business and practice for years now. So that's awesome. But my thing is, I want to go and sign off that Tahitian healer, so that there's a hono practitioner that can be added on that worldwide website. So on the honohono/healing.com website, there's already a list of international healers. Most of them are in New Zealand, so my buzz is to go over. We have quite a few students in and around Europe, so I want to just go and connect in with them. There's another one in Germany to sign off, and go and teach some people who can't make it to New Zealand yet.
Wow, that's awesome.
And how is hono and your way of healing received by, people outside of New Zealand?
Oh man, so out of those, let's just say 700 students, I would say 550 of them are from overseas.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's massive.
That is massive.
Yeah.
That's massive mahi, my bro. Man, that's wicked.
And that came from Nan pushing me to go to Queenstown and work in an international town. And so obviously perform a miracle for someone, and then they want to know how it works. Also, if you think about the type of people that come to Aotearoa, to New Zealand, they're searching. Some of them have, for most people that I've met from overseas, they knew about New Zealand as kids, and it's just been calling them.
Wow.
And so, they're the biggest amount. That's changing now. Also, if we go back to, 2009 was when I started this practice.
Yeah.
And remember when I caught up with Kebrasca after that, but Amber, would you have come to me for a healing in 2009?
Probably not.
Even if it wasn't me.
I don't know if it was. I'd heard about it. I don't know if it was. I'd say probably not, because it wasn't a modality that I knew enough about, or it wasn't as established. Yeah. So
Māori healing in 2009 was, like, from my knowledge, was not very spoken about. It was still indoors.
Very true.
We had a Tohunga Suppression Act, which made it illegal to practice any of this medicine from 1907 to 1962. So that's 55 years of like, no.
Yeah.
It's illegal or the devil, you know. So this is it's been a hard slog, man. And then there's the, like, I'm 44. I think I'm looking pretty good. But, imagine me at, you know, before I was even 30 saying, oh, I'm a Māori spiritual healer. You know, I had people going, bro, fuck up. You're not old. You know, you're not one of our kaumātua. Who do you think you are? And then I've never heard of that modality. You know, so it was rough back then. And I think there was, I was the last option for a lot of Māori people as well. And when I moved down to South Island, again, divinely forced, it was Dunedin that really opened up and was like, dude, you're a Māori healer. Like, hey, we're going to send all these people to you. So yeah, it was, it's now commonplace now in New Zealand to know of healing, to know of Māori healing, which is beautiful. And then, like, the cool part for me was is knowing that there's always been Māori healers. You know, from the dawn of Māoridom, I would say. But the fact that there's so many out here now, and like I'm a big one on upholding safe practice. And so I think that's been a big thing that's sort of come out in New Zealand, is finding safe practices, safe practitioners, not only in Māoridom, in healing, which is massive. And again, like, Nan's super, she's a stiffler for it, you know, like, it has to be upheld in a safe way. And that's why another reason why the Tohunga Suppression Act came out, because it wasn't just a colonial shutdown. Māori were on the decision-making table of that as well, because there was cowboys out there. What I've found is people who don't uphold a certain integrity with it will get shut down real quick. And yeah, so that's, I think that's been, because of that Suppression Act, has been a big reason why more overseas people have been drawn and know the value and worth of this medicine. And I think now that's changing, and the doors of wairua are opening within Aotearoa, that it's more commonplace. And also, like, another shock factor that's happening at the moment is, and we still face racism. I got shut down for funding 10 years ago because I taught white people, I hired white people, I treated white people, you know, so there was still that closed mindset as well.
Wow.
And still to this day, you know, like, and I think it's a beautiful thing that Riwai envisioned this years and years ago. This healing is for everyone. This modality is for everyone. And if you are human and you uphold the highest intention, which means no harm comes to anybody, no mai hara mai, the doors are open, come and learn this. We're all about it, and there's a safety and support in it. And I think that's the beauty of, so just for your, I think you'll laugh at this, the psychic medium that has been able to get Riwai out of the corner and, like, give me proof that, you know, he's talking. She was like, she kept talking about the tweaks, and here's me thinking he's been sitting in the corner going, that's not how I did it, or, you know, because he hasn't ever come out of the corner. And I've been seeing mediums for years.
Mm.
Everybody's talked about this, like this presence, male presence, just watching over me, very protective. I always used to think, because he wasn't coming out to talk, that he was, I wasn't doing good enough.
Mm.
But now he's opened up the dialogue. He's said, I like the tweaks you've made, and how you've added your own flavor, and the different protocols. But he likes it even more that it's becoming this, like, she said soup, but I believe what she meant was boil up. Becoming this beautiful tasting boil up.
Yeah.
Because every person, like I was saying before, the X-Men are turning up and they're adding their own flavor. As long as the base model of the tikanga and the kawa, or the protocols and the reasons we don't do certain things is upheld, and the mana of the medicine is upheld, then it is for everyone, and people will add their own ness to it. But Nan tells me, as long as there's no fucking angelic hono, she's I don't know what it is with that, but she's like, I really feel like she's not wanting it to be bastardized, and I don't know if Yusui's the same, who knows. I just know what my Nan says, and upholding the mana and integrity of the medicine.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's beautiful that it's so welcomed offshore, and that's why I'm heading offshore.
Yeah.
Again.
I think that that you talk about that whole piece around having a structured approach, but also doing it with the right mana and the right integrity. In order to do that, we've experienced ourselves modalities that don't have that integrity, and that they don't look after the people that are learning, or even more, the people that are practicing the modality. And it makes a huge difference, not just to the people who are coming to get healed, but there's a lot of practitioners that are just kind of left out there alone with no support. They don't know what's going on, and they're just kind of given some tools, and where you go be a Reiki practitioner, go be a this, go be a that. And I think there's a big wave of that which exists, and then there's what you've got. There's a big separation between the modalities that are actually really looking after people, have a proper kaupapa, have a proper structure and support, and they always create really strong healers and really strong healing in that practice as well, which I've seen personally through the sessions I've held with Hono Hono, but also experiencing myself and what was lifted in my own personal session. Brother, you're obviously going and going to be journeying around the different parts of the world, but you've also started and created this new vehicle, which I wanted to touch on, around supporting and helping specifically men, and it's called Way of the Warrior. I'm wondering if you can explain to our audience why men, why is that focus, and why did you create Way of the Warrior, and how does Hono Hono fit into that space as well, that you're using as a vehicle to help all the men that are out there?
So it came from jail, bro.
Yeah.
I started writing that when I was 19, and it was a kaupapa based in how I could not return to jail. One of the first things I noticed when I got in there as a young kid was how much of a revolving door it was.
Yeah. Wow.
They call it a lag. Oh, I'm on my 9th flag, like something to be proud of, and I'm like, fuck that. Man, and I saw how much, like I said, I've been able to feel people's trauma and empathize with it, not just sympathy, empathize with it, like feel it really deeply at my core since I was a bubba.
Yeah.
And so being in a prison with, the longest unit I spent in was 80 men. So feeling 79 other angry dudes stuff was hardcore. And to be able to really write a program, and I'll be honest again, that's my other granddad from my Samoan side that really helped me, and he was a hard man. You know, I come from a long line of them on my Samoan side, and hard woman. You know, but I believe that he really helped me to be a better human. But in order to do that, I needed to address my shit.
Yeah.
So instead of it being all fluffy and spiritual, which it still is, because the true way of the warrior is finding your spirit, finding your center. So I wrote 7 kaupapa, 7 workshops.
Yep.
And a big part of that was actually you invited me to give a talk when I first got out of jail at a youth thing about making music.
Yeah, it was my at that time I was doing youth work with at-risk children in South Auckland.
Yeah. And I remember coming in and I was wearing a suit.
Yeah.
And they were all like looking at me like, who's this punk? And then I took off my shirt and they seen all my jail tats and they were like,
oh,
like, cool. Are you listening now?
Yeah.
And that first part of that talk, the questions that I was asking like way back then, ko wai o, who are you at your core of your being? And I think that's the most important question you can ever ask yourself is, who am I at any given moment? You know, besides all my trauma, besides all the stuff, you know, like, or if you're rich, besides all my wealth, at the core of my being, who am I?
Yeah.
So it fundamentally is those questions that I asked myself as a 19-year-old kid. Because when I first walked into jail, man, I looked like Gollum, and my defining moment of change was ready to fight myself when I walked past the mirror, because I didn't recognize who I was. And so, over the time I spent inside, I just wrote those kaupapa, and then, like, I've only ever delivered 1 and 2.
Yeah. Wow.
And the buzziest part is when I've read back over them, that they're addressing our chakra system. And so, like, when I'd love to take credit for all the cool shit that comes out of me, but it's most of it has been channeled. And again, I've just made the choice to go, fuck it, I've got nothing better to do. Let's do what you guys have brought me to this planet to do. And it's paying off. Way of the Warrior has been amazing and massive to see a man change from day one. And like the way the kaupapa is written is, by that evening, they're talking and sharing like besties more than they would share with their besties. And then by the final day, they have opened up to their true self and ready to move into the world. But like any wānanga or any retreat, you go away, it's all this thing, you've done all this work, and then you walk back, boom, like walking into a glass door of the real world, like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
But the support group is the men that turned up for themselves. You know, and there's a strength in that. But like Kebrasca says, and I give my people shit, the group's not grouping. You know? and that's the thing, is the support from anything that I hold is the support is always there. But how much you're willing to put that mahi in, different story. But what I have noticed is the group might not be grouping, but it doesn't mean that people inside of that group aren't communicating and uplifting each other.
Yeah.
And my thing is, I'll keep chiming in on the group to go, hey, remember this. And then, or if I get a question, I'm not answering individual questions anymore. I'll address the group, because somebody else in there might be too scared to ask. And so I've found that that's a real good way to help that support network still be there.
Yeah.
But so you are aware, I didn't just write it for men.
Right.
I wrote it for anybody with a spirit.
Wow.
So we are about to branch into the offshoots. So
nice.
So Way of the Warrior it has been predominantly a men's, men's and troubled youth. But the first one I ever actually delivered the full series of, the full level 1 was in Weymouth Children's Prison, 2009. And that was over 2 weeks, and pretty much they did a sit-in because I wanted it to be government funded. They didn't want it because I'd already been in prison, but that worked in a youth unit with men and women.
Oh, wow.
And to the point where they did a silent sit-in, meaning they wouldn't go back to their cells and the officers wouldn't make them for 2 nights to try and get them as a peaceful protest to try and get the kaupapa actually initiated.
Wow.
But this is the thing with our governments. It's revenue.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Bums on seats.
Yeah.
And especially, naughty Indigenous people not listening.
Yeah.
You know, so
Lock 'em up.
I'm just going to be fucking real about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's what I wrote the program for, was for us to win. And I don't mean us meaning Indigenous. I mean us meaning troubled and looking for our spirit. But instead of looking out here, we can look in here.
Yeah, wow.
And so, the woman's one, I went to launch that a few years back and created some drama with someone who was like, "You have no right to be teaching women," and I'm like, "I'm being asked," like, and actually, my response back then was quite cutthroat. Supply and demand, motherfucker. Like, I'm being asked by a woman. I don't want to teach certain blocks of people. I want to teach everyone.
Yeah.
And it's just teaching what I know or what I've been channeled. Like, I'm not a guru. I'm literally just a dude who's letting the information come through me and gifting it on to others. The teaching I maybe do is through my lived experience of fucking running into walls and headbutting through them, learning the hard way. But yeah, and then the rangatahi programs definitely helped. So I think we're into the probably 150 odd men, and or maybe pushing towards 200, and then maybe a couple of roomfuls of kids. So what's that? Maybe about 60 youth who have been through the program, level 1 mainly.
Man, that's awesome.
So yeah, and that's one that I'm real excited to take to the world. And the thing is I just deliver the main point of the Way of the Warrior, which is spiritual awareness, emotional intelligence, and then bring in guest facilitators to do the exercises or activities that feed the soul, feed the spirit. So yeah.
Wow.
So if people want to get on one of those wānanga, the Way of the Warrior, where can they go to?
I think Kebrasca's got all 3 of the websites. So wayofthewarrior.co.nz is the buzz there. I will be, I'm literally just waiting to lock in a venue because I want to do the men and women's one next because, we had more interest from Wahine wanting to do the men's one because it's still confronting for men to want to step into these spaces. And a lot of people, like, we used to have corrections pay for men to come through Way of the Warrior and even work and income. Pay for men to come in, and then it started working, and then they're like, the word warrior, now we can't have it promotes violence.
Oh my god.
Okay, so I changed it to wairua toa, which means spiritual warrior, tane toa, men's warrior group, and then wahine toa, so that was the woman's one. So these were the 3 I pushed forward, and then they're like, it's too Māori focused.
Oh my god.
Being a bit racist there, Dion. I'm like, okay, what would you like me to call it? And then the dude's like, let me break it down for you. We don't want to fund it because it's fucking working, and we kind of don't have jobs if people don't need welfare and there's no jails.
What? Oh man!
And I'd love to be able to state his name online, but yeah. This is, herein lies the problem, and that's the system. The system was created to have dependence,
and they don't want us to get healed in the first place.
That's
do they?
it. They want to keep us down, right? But
Right,
you will keep motivating others to be healed and get healed, and
100%, man. There's a lot of people that are inside government establishments that are here to make positive change. The system was always designed for Julius Caesar's legacy to live on, which means you need a captive audience. You know, and my buzz is it doesn't need to be broken because there's so much good shit and policies. Not so much policies. There's good thought that's gone into trying to bring collaboration and cooperation, but you know, like right down to the defining of like, and I say this knowing full well I have a beautiful Rangatiratanga flag, but as long as there's division, you know, like for me, this is because I'm proud of this heritage, but if I can get the 14 flags of my DNA, you know, I'll make a beautiful coat, rock it around, because you know, I'm a citizen of the. Oh no, sorry, I'm not a citizen. I am a sovereign of this world, and I think that's where I'm at. Is when you can be in your sovereignty, and that is the actual healing journey. Then we actually like should be collaborating and cooperating instead of fighting for dominance or asserting power, you know, because that just breeds more trauma. Like whatever side of colonization you're on and whatever country that got colonized by whoever, there's healing that's needed on either side of it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Guilt trauma is a fucking trauma.
Yeah.
You know?
It is.
Yeah. So that's a way of the warrior, and is a big part of that. And you know, I'm starting to work more with businesses and people who are on, like even successful people who are like, wow, I'm working on a world champion here. Holy shit. Or I'm working on the owner and operator of this global operation, this company. So I'm working on more of these people now who are the game changers, you know, because they're in those positions of power and able to uplift. And you know, like a big thing 10 years ago was to pay someone a working wage. The living wage, you know? And like, so what does that system already tell us? That we're willing to pay people less than the cost of living, and that's meant to be okay.
Well, less than what they're worth as well, isn't it? Like,
damn.
Making them settle for something less.
Yeah, like again, healing for me would be a politician on the same wage as the janitor or the toilet cleaner, and let's swap those paychecks around. You're creating more shit than they're able to do. You know? So yeah, I get a little bit political on it. You know, ultimately, my thing is we are God source. And we have that option to turn on that valve and really be amazing. And there's a whole lot of stuff that we've got to break through in order to have that. But I've dreamt it. I've seen it actually as a kid. I've dreamt it. I know it's possible. It's just a matter of each person head out of the sand. Dust off the shoulders. I got this. This is my gift. This is what I came to this world to share. And then really finding your tribe that are going to uplift you, because, you know, we've all been guilty of being a hater. But, you know, and haterade's definitely been in the water. But, like, uplift people, man. Like, I'm all about it now. I live by it. Like, I don't really see competition. I see as someone that can teach me. But it doesn't mean I don't have those moments of where I'm like, fuck, I wish I was that guy. You know, I wish I was driving that Audi. And then, like, hang on, you can drive that Audi, or you know, you've just got to work towards it. You know? So, but like Kebrasca, you've known me since I was 15. I was ambitious back then, man.
Yeah, and you still are, brother.
As soon as you took me to a nightclub in town, bro, I wanted to own it.
Yeah, I think our past, brother, has been so varied across. It almost seems like multiple lives in this life that you and I have shared. From you being young and angry and ambitious and ego into now this, beautiful masculine energy that is helping to not only drive a message from spirit into the world, but also help heal people in the same time. Like, you can't get a bigger polar opposite, of a journey, my brother, than where you are and what you've been through.
You're a massive part of that. Like,
thank you,
and Amber, you can probably attest to that as well. I was bad when you met me, but I was worse before that. Well worse. The bro helped rein me in and really find my nurturing side and compassion, because I definitely didn't necessarily have it. And yeah, brother, I honestly, I definitely mention that to a lot of people, because I'm like, man, you need to thank my big brother, because he taught me how to be softer and that it was okay. And bro, actually, through your voice.
It is that voice.
It is the voice.
And I still can't do it. See? I'm not hating on you, bro. Use it.
It's coming, brother. It's coming. Like, I've been working away at this sound that I'm trying, that I can see. I'm piecing together the components of it that suit, that feel good. I'm trusting in the feeling of things.
He's been testing it out on the cat, and she loves it.
She loves it. Yeah,
she doesn't love my singing, but she does love his. So
no, she doesn't. She runs away.
She runs away. But whenever Kebrasca sings to her, she's like, "Oh, Papa, I love you."
And then Amber will stand. She's like,
"I'm out of here."
Let her go.
That's all right. Amber, you have a different healing.
I have other talents. Thank you,
does.
Dion.
You do.
I'm going to go. Should we do some quick fire questions?
Yeah, before we...
My phone and stuff's probably going to run out.
Okay. All right. No, thank you. Okay. Karakia or meditation?
Karakia.
Kaimoana or hangi?
Depends on the kaimoana and the hangi. And what sort of hangi? Are you talking steamed hangi?
A proper hangi.
Like proper.
And not started with petrol?
No.
Yeah, no. Proper in the stones.
Hangi.
Yes.
Yeah.
One Māori whakatauki you live by?
He waka eke noa. We're all in this together.
Nice. Favourite place to recharge in Aotearoa?
That's changed. Recharge, Castle Hill, Kura Tawhiri. So, yeah. But it used to be the cave. It used to be Ngāwha Hot Springs. It used to be hot and cold. Like, actually, just Aotearoa. But, yeah, I've spent a bit of time here, and I've noticed a change in me in a year. So Matariki, I went back and did all my things, and I was like, wow, this has been a year of growth that I've exceeded all the past years of growth. And I do believe it's so it's called Castle Hill or Kura Tawhiri, but it's the school of God of the Wind, or the castle of God of the Wind, or the home of the God of the Wind.
Wow. And is that in Christchurch?
Just out of Christchurch, on the way through the Arthurs Pass, on the way between Christchurch and West Coast. You have to come. I will take you there. Kebrasca's coming back for level 3 and 4 in November. So Amber,
I will come. Yeah, I'll come when it's not snowing. When it's warmer.
You've already been there when it was cold.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to be an icicle. Like, I want to actually enjoy myself. Yeah.
My brother, I just want to take this time just to say thank you so much for not only sharing your wisdom, your wairua, and your kaupapa, and your medicine with everyone that's watching this evening, and with us, and with Amber and I personally, but for the mahi that you're doing out there in the world, my bro. There are not enough of you, and I am super proud of you. And I am so grateful that we are brothers and that we are still connected to this day, even though we started in the darkest corners. We will, together, we will continue our journey, and I continue to support you, my brother, from wherever you are in the world. And you know you have a home here anytime you need to come and visit. And I'm looking forward to catching up again with you very soon. But thank you so much for being on our podcast, my bro.
Yes. Thank you, Dion.
You both so much, and right back at you. Yeah, no, I feel it, and I'm so grateful to have you both in my life. And it feels so good to say that to you, Amber. Really deep down mean it.
Me too.
And I'm real proud of you guys for what you're up to. Like, you're bringing this stuff mainstream, you know, and utilizing all of your other gifts in the matrix to bring this out and for it to be palatable for people, you know, like. And just all the training that you guys have undergone, like, that's dedicated effort, man.
Thank you.
You know, your mahi with Nigel, your mahi with the other modalities that you've gone through, your work with the spiritual church, like, dude, it's he waka eke noa, man. We're all pushing water with those paddles, you know. But yeah, I look forward to some hangouts. I look forward to getting in the onesie brigade again. I look forward to, going and having a boogie somewhere.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. But I think we need to meet up in a different country real soon.
Done by me, brother. No issues whatsoever. Let's make that happen for sure.
Thailand with some elephants. I know a place.
Yeah,
let's go.
Hey, thank you for having me. And I look forward to having you on mine.
Yes.
Yeah, spicy one, Amber.
I'm all about
my
the
turn
spice.
asking the questions.
Yes, you can do it.
You let me know when
How much of a dick was I?
How long do we have?
Quick fire question.
What was the worst thing I did? Cool. Hey, thanks so much, guys. It's been awesome. And look forward to catching up. Kanohi ki te kanohi. And send my love to your mum, Amber.
I will.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, my brother. And you can check out more of the mahi from Dion Freeman and all of the practitioners that are working with him if you visit wayofthewarrior.co.nz for the modality of Way of the Warrior. You can also visit honohono-healing.com, which is the Honohono Healing International website, where they have the retreats, they have their online workshops, and they have practitioners from all over the motu that you can visit and learn about. And then there's also the home destination of Healing Aotearoa, Dion's first company that was built, which still has a whole amount of free online webinars, information, coaches, and more. If there's anything that you need to know about that modality, about Dion, about the work that he does, please spend some time, visit the websites, join the social pages, and like us, you'll become an advocate for the mahi that he's becoming world renowned for. That was a pretty cool interview.
That was awesome.
I was so glad that we got to go through all the questions and really delve deeper with Dion into everything that he's up to. He's been busy, man.
He's been so busy. Look, even Kaiji made it in for the podcast. She's been rolling around our feet, which means she loves Dion too.
She does.
Yeah.
She does. I'm not surprised because she's had hono healing energy.
She has. She loves it.
So she loves that part. But we're calling it an end to this podcast session for another week. Join us again for next week when we'll be talking a lot more about the spirituality aspect, business, and more. And if you wanted to see any of us, you can also join Amber on her website social pages at
glowbyamber.com.
Or you can visit me at kebrascaking.com to learn about the modalities and work that we do within the spiritual world. Until then, we'll leave you guys. Have a wonderful evening and thanks for tuning in.
Ka kite.
Ka kite.